Do I have permission to interview you?
Yes, you have permission to interview me and record me.
Okay. Can you tell me about what it was like before you started karate?
Uh, I started karate pretty young, like when I was like 10, 12. And I was a young kind of spazzy kid, had a lot of trouble focusing. I had a lot of trouble just kind of sticking to one thing at any one point in time. As a bit of a knucklehead for a while there. You know, not in trouble, but just not able to do stuff like I wanted to.
Did you face any challenges?
My grades in school were pretty bad. I was like a D student, before karate. Um, had a lot of siblings that were older than me, so it was always kind of a little struggle to be a middle child in a family of 4 kids, and it was always a little bit tough to be there. It was hard to make friends because I was so spazzy. So sometimes, I would have to kind of pair up with people who were totally spazzy like me, which then would cause some trouble in class and getting in trouble for talking and bouncing around and stuff like that, yeah.
Was it your choice to do sports?
Um, Not exactly. So, my dad is military. He worked at the Air Force Base in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and one of his friends was a karate instructor on the base, and my dad was telling him about me, and the karate instructor said that he thought karate might be able to help me, and so when he told me, I got really excited about it. But in my mind, it wasn't like karate like you really do. It was karate like the movies. So like the first night that I heard about it, I started dreaming about it, and I was starting to do like karate moves in my sleep, and I headbutted a television set next to my bed and gave myself a little bit of a black eye because I was like breaking boards with my head in my dreams because I was going to be a karate guy. But it wasn't my idea, but my pop kind of put it out there, and I got excited about it.
What was your most favorite part?
Um, my favorite part about karate was like I was a kid, and I was a very tall kid, but very small. So I was very, very skinny and very tall. And they didn't have kid karate class, so I had to go to karate class with the adults. And the fun part was I got to do it's called sparring. It's where you karate fight, and I got to fight with other people. And it wasn't like they were trying to beat me up and punch me really hard or anything. So I was able to do it and get good at it without ever getting hurt. So I kind of enjoyed that part of it. It was like a contest to see who could be the best without getting hurt.
Anything that you regretted?
Um, Not from karate. There was about a 6 month period at the very beginning where you're learning how to do all this stuff, and it makes your body incredibly sore and bruised up because you're not used to it. So like your hands would be sore. I had a problem where when somebody would kick me, I would kick them as soon as they kicked, and we would hit shins like soccer clash where you kick shins on each other.
Yeah.
And I would get giant bruises and welts, and I couldn't walk for a while. But it was never a regret. I really enjoyed the karate class. I enjoyed what I learned. I enjoyed traveling with them when they went to tournaments and contests because I got to be on their competitive team, and it really helped me learn a lot of stuff like how to focus and be disciplined and even how to memorize stuff. It was excellent.
How did how did karate help you after college? Like what how is it most useful?
It was never about the fighting. It was all about the discipline and kind of the self control. So like I've never had to use karate that much in any kind of fight. You learn how to use your body mechanics, but there's a lot of sports that teach you that. But what the karate did for me is I went from an ADHD kid who even in karate class when we were doing our practicing moves, I would start to space out, and then my instructor would be able to walk over to me and grab my face and give me a 1 inch headbutt. It wasn't really hard, but it was enough to just sort of refocus you. And it was kind of funny because you'd kind of do this mumble talk at me. And basically, it was able to help me focus when I needed to focus and be disciplined enough to finish the thing I needed to do. And I've been able to use that since the karate class. I used it all the way through high school and even in my current job, you kind of get a confidence and an ability to just get your head straight and keep going. You don't have to be the best at the fighting or the best at the moves or anything, but you do end up having a focus, and it was a really good tool.
What do you mean?
Like, in the karate class, right? I was on the competitive karate team because I could score points, right?
Yep.
But I was 100 pounds. There was no way I would ever be able to get into a real fight and hurt anybody. I could kick, but anybody who has 100 pounds on me just gets their hands on me, and it's like a whole wrestling contest, right? So karate was never about the fighting, right? It was about just being in a community, being in a team. Everybody's kind of excited about the stuff. I'm learning how to focus. I'm learning how to contribute, and I'm able to do more without ever being like the tough guy. So like, you never had to be the best fighter. You never had to be the best guy and win trophies all the time to be part of this. And you didn't have to be the best athlete in order to succeed, right? You could be an average athlete and still get something out of it, which was nice. Because sometimes you get into sports and eventually the really good athletes kind of push the really bad athletes out of the way. But in karate, it's really about self-improvement and discipline. So you're able to stay in with everybody else, right? So I thought it was good.
What was like the most stupid things that happened before karate? Like anything that made things hard?
The problem like before karate was I just couldn't focus on anything. I had like ADHD, and like the Ritalin that they tried to give me, which is a medicine to give for ADHD kids back in the late 70s, it just didn't work for me. Right, it just kind of put me in a fog, and I couldn't remember stuff. I couldn't pay attention. I couldn't sit still in my chair. I was constantly trying to go do stuff, and so I was always getting in trouble for not being able to sit and do what I needed to get done. Right, so like those are kind of dumb things, right? And then you're in class, you get bored, and so you try to leave the class to go do something else, even though the class isn't on recess yet, or you say you got to go to the bathroom, but really you're just kind of going around playing in the halls. It's stuff like that, where I just had trouble in the class, and I would get in trouble at home because I wouldn't do my jobs. I wouldn't clean up the house or clean up my messes or anything like that, right? And all of that was just like, it was just young kid, irresponsible, not paying attention kind of stuff, right? And eventually, with karate, I'm able to learn how to focus and learn how to complete and learn how to do, and even on stuff I hate, like cleaning or schoolwork or whatever, I was able to get that done because of it. So, but yeah, the dumb things would be like sneaking out of class, trying to find a reason to get out of class, to go mess around, and then on the playground you're trying to do the crazy jump off stuff, right? You're trying to do the big jump, big stunt, because you want to see what you can do. So it's nothing horrible, but certainly a problem. That's why I had all D's from before fifth grade. It was all C's. C's are good grades. D's were normal grades. But then after I got in karate, A's and B's.
And then I know you after high school you went into the military. Can you tell me what that was like?
That was terrible. I'm not a fan of it. I went in to get part of the GI Bill because my parents were going to help me with college, and so I joined, and I was a weatherman. And you've got to go through a bunch of training. So one of the training is like 8 weeks of basic training, which was terrible because it's just like really hard, physically demanding, mentally taxing. It's really stressful if you don't understand what they're doing. I was lucky enough to understand what they were going to do for the 8 weeks, and I got to practice on some of the harder stuff, like how to tear apart an M16 or tear apart the claymore or the gas masks. Those are all really hard ones that stump a lot of people. But I had a week of training before I went into basic training for the National Guard, and they kind of gave me a quick class on everything, so that when I went there it was easier for me to do that. And then I just had to focus on the exercise and the eating and the cleaning and all that stuff. But I was a weatherman for like 8 years for howitzers, and I really liked the people that were in my group. It was about 10 of us, and I'm still friends with them today, but I wasn't a fan of the military. It just wasn't my kind of lifestyle. I didn't dig it at all. But It's helped me buy 2 houses. It's paid for part of my first half of my college, my first 2 years of college, stuff like that. So they're good and bad, right? It's good and bad, but wasn't necessarily a fan of it.
So there wasn't anything you liked?
There were some fun parts of it, like you would go on 2 weeks a year. You would have to go out into the field and practice being Army. But my first 2 years, it was they weren't taking it seriously because we didn't have any wars at that point, right? So I'd go to the field and I could sleep till noon and just do the night shift flying weather for the guns, and because it's the night shift and nobody's coming to mess with me, I could just kind of do my own thing, and that was kind of fun. Hanging out with the guys is fun. Learning to play cards is fun, but you get to you get to shoot the guns and throw the grenades and stuff like that, and that's all kind of fun. But then it sucks because like if you shoot the gun, then you got to clean the gun, and cleaning the gun sucks way more than the fun you get from shooting the gun. And the grenade is just a giant hassle of work just to throw one grenade that you don't get to watch because you're not supposed to stand and see what it explodes, so you don't even get to see it. You just throw it and duck down so you don't get killed by your own grenade. So there was a lot of things that could be fun, I guess, but for the most part, it was just the people that I got to hang out with that I enjoyed. But the whole Army part and the whole routine and stuff, it just wasn't for me. I didn't agree with it.
What was the most uncomfortable thing that was in the Army?
Basic training was the most uncomfortable thing I've ever done in my life. I went in and I was slightly underweight, so I had to eat like a crazy amount of food. Like they had a special table for people who had diet problems, and I was the only skinny guy, and then there was a bunch of heavyweight guys, and so the heavyweight guys had like limited food and salads and whatever, and then I would have giant mounds of chili mac, and I would just I ate so much, but I was hungry all the time. And then because I knew more or less what they were going to do for the 8 weeks, I did things like instead of wearing all 4 of my uniforms, I literally only wore 2 uniforms because they needed to have your locker set up a certain way so that everything was in a certain place and it looked a certain way. So I literally wore 2 pair of clothes. So the clothes I wore the day and the clothes I washed every 3 or 4 days. Like, so it would be just smelly, horrible, stinky clothes, but like my locker, I never had to put any time on work into it because I left other things brand new, crisp, clean, untouched stuff, right? So that basic training, man, you go forever. It takes all day. It's hot, it's sweaty, it's humid. People yelling at you for no reason. You're doing all this really tough stuff, and it was just a long 8 weeks. It was a long 2 months of training, and I never smelt so bad, ate so much, was so hungry and tired at the same time. And you do things like the gas, like they make you do like the tear gas, where you go into a room where there's tear gas and you're wearing your mask, and then they make you take your mask off so that you can feel the tear gas and know that the gas mask that you were just wearing actually really did work like it said it would. And that sucked because it's just painful, right? It's a painful lesson to just show you that your stuff works. It was really weird. I didn't understand everything they did, but I knew the method they were going to use. So at the beginning you were terrible, and at the end you were the best. Like everybody's little group. At the beginning they were 100% terrible, and at the end, no matter what, you were always 100% the best. And it was like a way to get everybody down to the same level and then bring everybody up to the same level. But really, it was just sort of like a psychological programming so that you could fit into the structure of the military, and so it was just weird. It's long, hard, hot, dirty, and I just did not enjoy it.
All right, and then for this last part, can you tell me a little bit about your life after college?
I did online college, so it's kind of different than a lot of other people. Like, you have siblings right now that are going to college and living in college and doing their college stuff. But I was working while going to college. So even when I was like in my Army National Guard stuff, I had a job that I had to do, and then I would do my college. So when I was young, my jobs were always like nighttime hours. So then I would do college in the morning and do the homework before work, and then do the work, and then go home and sleep and start it all over again, right? And then they started doing online colleges, and I got a computer information degree. And I was doing a lot of this stuff in my job already, but I just had to kind of get my degree work caught up to my knowledge that I already had kind of built up. So going through college was a lot like going through life, where I had a house, I had kids, I had to go to work, and then I would have to fit into college. So mine's a little bit different than a lot of people, where they kind of had like this. College is like where you are supposed to go and learn to be an adult and learn to be on your own and find out who you are and find out what you're interested in and kind of grow as a person. And I'd already been living as an adult and already kind of making my own choices and guiding myself, and then getting college on top of it. So one of the good things about college for me was I got my degree in a field that I like, and it works in the job that I have. Some of my friends got degrees like in business, but then they never went in and started their own company. They were just working for another company. And some of my friends had art degrees because they love art, but they couldn't get a job as a graphic artist or something like that. So like it's hard to always find the job that fits the degree you get, but the skills that you learn in college are still really good because they teach you how to manage your time, manage your homework, manage your expectations. It makes you learn how to talk to people on your own instead of your parents doing it for you. So all of that was really good. But my time after college was like, it was like while I was in college, except I had more free time when I was done. I didn't have to do the classes, I didn't have to do the tests, I didn't have to do the homework. But, you know, it wasn't too bad. I really liked it. I would go back to college again if it wasn't so expensive, because I like the going to school part of college, and I like learning the new stuff part of college. Right? I don't like having to pay the college money for it though, because it can get a little expensive if you're not getting scholarships or whatever. So to me, going to college has always been fun. I like the learning part. I don't like the expense part, and so that kind of tied into the National Guard and getting the GI Bill, and I was already working, making my own money, so it all kind of made for a very busy 8 to 10 years of my life with college and the Guard and the jobs, and then getting out. And then once college went away and I got out of the Guard, then I had a lot of free time to be a dad and free time to do house stuff. So it was pretty good. I really liked it so far.
And finally, can you tell me a little bit about your life right now?
My life right now, I have a job, and I have 4 kids. I have a wife. I have 2 dogs. Everything like what you want, right? And then the thing with my job is, it's in an area that I'm interested in. I've been in the phone company business for 20 years, right? And I work for the phone company, but it's about software development, so the phone company stuff all works together and makes computers talk to computers and do things better. And so I've kind of been able to do my job and really do something that I'm interested in, right? Which is makes it so that, like, some people, like, they do a job and they hate it, so they don't want to go to work and they're always miserable. But I like my job. I like the people I work with. And one of the things I like is because I'm good at my job and my manager is comfortable with letting good people do good things, I don't feel like I'm constantly being bullied by the company to do something that I shouldn't, right? They just they give me the work, and then I get it done without anybody babysitting me. And what's kind of funny is you know how, like, there's the coronavirus going on right now?
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of people who worked at jobs where they had to go into the office and do their work and then come home. So they'd have to drive in, to get up in the morning, drive to work, do their job, and then drive home, right?
Yeah.
And so now they're finding out what it's like to work at home, and there's some good stuff and bad stuff. Like you get a lot done if you're disciplined. If you make yourself do the work, you can get a lot done, but you can also get it done in a shorter amount of time. So you don't have to be so busy all the time. Like when you're driving to and from work, that traffic sucks. Getting up early and doing all that stuff sucks. Going into an office, sometimes it's hard to get work done because people keep coming up and they want to just talk and socialize a little bit, and that's kind of it's good because you're socializing, but it's bad because you're not working and getting stuff done where you could work 5 hours instead of 8 hours and get the same amount of stuff done if people weren't interrupting you, right? So like, I've done the commute part, but for the last 10 years I've only had to work from home because I'm all in software. I do a lot of writing and a lot of phone calls. I don't need to go sit in a building to do it. And so for me, the coronavirus hasn't really like changed my life, right? I get to enjoy it. The only good thing with the coronavirus, which if you can see it as a good thing, is all of my kids are home right now. So Katie's home, Chance is home, Jay's going to be graduating, but he may stay home for a while. You've got one more year of school left. And so I get to see all my family a lot more because, once my kids get through college, right? And then they go start living their lives, then, I'm not going to be able to see them as much. I'll have to talk to them on the phone or whatever, but they're going to get busy with their lives. And then that'll kind of suck. It'll be sad because I did, all the growing with them and all the playing with them and all the hanging out with them. Like, do you remember, like, on my birthday, your adoption anniversary, we had a sleepover. And I wasn't the best sleepover partner, but it was still kind of fun. It was fun. And then, we play games together. And sometimes you don't play the board games, but Chance and Katie play the board games. Sometimes you play video games and we'll play video games, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of different stuff where we do things at different interests, right? And you like to do it. Like when we play basketball and there's the four of us out there, I can't do that by myself, right?
Yeah.
Right. So there's good family time in it. And I'm at a point in my career where I make good money, I have a stable job, I have a job I like and a boss I like, and I have a team I like, right? So the work is the smallest part of my day. It's busy, I have to get stuff done, but my fun part of the day is when work's over and I get to hang out with my family. Even when we're just sitting in the same room, it's still better than sitting by yourself. You know what I mean? You don't even have to be watching the same show. We're just kind of in the same place, in the same space, and we're around each other, even if we're doing different things. Like if I'm doing something on my phone and you're doing something on your laptop and Chance is watching a show, we're still all kind of in that place and we still kind of interact, right? It's not like we're ignoring each other. So I really like that part. And where I'm at in my job right now, I can do that. And I'm not having to worry about my boss, worry about my job, worry about paying a bill. I don't have to worry about those stresses because I'm old. I'm really old, so I've gotten pretty far in my career, and I've been in the same job for since 2001. I've been doing the exact same work in the same company on the same systems, right? So I am very good at what I do in my job, and we went from a point in time where there was 800 people down to me. So I'm good enough to have lasted the whole time, right? So that's nice, right? But everything's good. I enjoy it, and I really like where I'm at right now. I don't like that I'm old now, though. I wish I had all this when I was like 20, and then it would be better. But I'm old now, so what do you do? What do you do?
All right. Thank you. That is all.
All right, thanks, man.